Welcome to Chasing Growth. We continue talking about leadership in this new format, the podcast, and I'm gonna be extending on the ideas that I have been sharing in YouTube, and I talk with people, and I thought it would be a great idea just to talk about it and to just be able to share a little bit more and more details. And so with the same purpose, we continue growing together, and I just want to talk about what is leadership and what is not. What comes to your mind when you think about leadership? Position, authority, power, the person in charge. Those are positions of leadership. But even if you don't have a position, you still have leadership, because leadership is influence, and you have influence. If leaders is to take people from one point B to point B, you have influence. We all influencing people all the time, the way we do things, our families, our children, our wives, spouses, whatever it is. We cannot run away from it. Influence is a lot like communication. You cannot communicate. It's impossible. Many people is not aware, for example, they cannot communicate. That is impossible. This has been studied in so many ways. We're always communicating. And because they're not aware, or they don't understand this, they believe that they only communicate when they're talking, and they're not aware of their nonverbals, the way they react, the way they look, the different things they do in a conversation. A lot of marriages have problems with this. So it's very important to understand that influence is like communication. You cannot not influence. You always influencing the environment around you, people, friends, children. So the first step for leadership is to recognize that leadership is no position, no a place, no an office, no power, no authority, but influence, and knowing that you have it. The second step is to identify over who. See, the thing is that you may not even know that the people who you're spending your life with, the people who's around you, your family, neighbors, friends, the people you encounter at work, who knows, you have an influence over them. And if you're not recognizing that, the problem is that you probably don't even know you're responsible for that influence that you have over them. So let me ask you this. If somebody will do exactly like you do, if somebody will follow your steps, your children's, a friend, not only those steps that we do publicly, but also privately, the things that some people who's closer to us know, if they will do exactly what we do, if they will be exactly like the way we are, would you be proud of them? Would you say they're good people? Would you say they're doing great? I can tell you that I'm sure in so many ways the answer is no, in some others is yes. But the main idea on this is that if we care about these people, we need to understand the responsibility we have over them with our influence, and get better, and just get better. So the first thing is recognize that influence and recognize that you're responsible. So you have to get better. So I want to share a couple ways that you can get better, and you can do your own adaptation of this. This is not like a formula or anything like that, but I believe the good leadership or influence start with an inner journey, a self-examination to see what is important for you, what is important for your life, what breaks your heart, what moves you, what do you value. And when you start asking that question and you start answering why, and understanding who you are, the way you respond to the world around you, you can get better. If you don't know who you are, how are you gonna know what to fix? Let me give you an example. Let's say there's a leak in the roof of your house and you don't see it, and years go by and this thing is leaking. What you're gonna have at the end is probably a big mess, big problem, right? So the thing is that our life is like that. Sometimes there may be things in our life, they're leaking, they're not good, they're bad, and we're not aware of them. And eventually it can be a big problem. So the first step with this internal journey to discover yourself is to have those tough conversations and realize what are the things that are leaking in our life. It can be the lack of interest on people. It can be laziness. I don't want to read. I don't want to spend time learning. I'm good where I'm at. All that kind of stuff. And those are leaks that you have to pay attention, because they will come to haunt you later. The people who's around us is receiving that influence. Is getting. Many of them will get the benefit or the consequences of those fixing those leaks or not. So the best thing to identify this problem, let's say you identify the problem, the probabilities will be a bad influence to anybody who's getting in contact with you. It's a great thing if you identify that, because that means that you're a humble leader. You're somebody who's humble enough to say, hey, I'm struggling in this area. I have a problem with this situation. I don't know how to do this. I need to learn this or that. All that is very good, because there's nothing worse than the person who actually find out there's a problem and don't want to fix it. So the first thing is have the journey. Identify those problems, those things that are important for you, they need to be fixed, and understand why they need to fix. Sometimes you may need help from people, from friends, or even people who care about you. They're willing to tell you the truth, so you can get better. Now, what is the problem? You cannot just open the door to anybody to talk about these things, because you want people who actually care about you, so they actually can identify real leaks and not just be critics of whatever and just try to bring you down. So let's talk about an example that I thought it will be a good example that I think people struggle a lot with, and we can move to the next step. So let's say you start this journey and you start wondering why people doesn't take seriously when you talk about discipline. And you realize that when you're talking about discipline and the lack of influence you have over people with that is because you are overweight. So when you talk about discipline and at the same time you're overweight, it doesn't add up for people. So you're a bad influence, and you want to change that. And let's say you want to get better, so you're doing that you have the desire to get better. So you set up a goal. You want to lose weight. And that's great goal. You want to lose weight, you want to be healthy, great. However, many people set the goals and they don't pay attention to the small steps that will take them there to get better. Some people, they start a year and they start these new year resolutions, and they try to get better. They start eating better, they go hungry, and then a few weeks later, they're done. And they cannot continue. So I want to propose you something a little bit different, maybe easier, and just can be to start with a small discipline. And I'm not talking about the goal. I'm saying the goal is great. You want to lose weight. That's a great goal to have. You want to be healthy. A great goal to have. You want to influence your family, your friends with a healthy life. That's great. You want to be a leader who talk about discipline, and you want to be able to have authority in what you say. So you want to lose weight, etc., etc., etc. That's all great. But let's talk about how you get there. And let's say you develop a small discipline. And this small discipline can go from putting your running shoes and go outside, even if you don't run, or maybe actually just pack the gym bag and go to the gym. No worrying yet, even if you're gonna run or you're gonna work out, but doing something that is a small step that will take you to the next one. A lot of people start big, they get into the gym, they sign up, and they pay huge membership through the year, and they start lifting weight. Many times they get hurt, etc., etc. So I just want to tell you, start with a small discipline. Maybe it's waking up a little early and putting the tennis shoes to go for a walk. And maybe the discipline is just to wake up early and put your tennis shoes on. The walk will come if you continue doing that, and maybe that's set up for every day. I'm telling you, that's the first step. Paying attention to those steps is more important to paying attention to your goal. Setting up a goal is great, and you will get there as long as you pay attention to the small steps and you start taking care of those steps one by one. So, and that's how you get better. Set goals, try to change things in your life that are leaking, trying to become a better influence, and set that thing that you can achieve. You're not going to become a great leader, a great father, a great person with influence from one day to another. It will take time. It won't happen just magically because you just want to do it. So the first step, like we said, was to understand that you have leadership or influence. That's key. People still struggle with this. People say, I'm not a leader. I'm not the one who's supposed to lead. I don't have that personality, that kind of stuff. But again, they're failing to understand that leadership is influence and not a position or not a big personality. Maybe that's this thing that for years they have been selling us about leadership, the quarterback type of personality, but it's not. You all have influence, and I know you all have access to people that you want to influence for good. You want them to be better. So the first thing is to understand what is leadership, and leadership is influence. The second thing is to take the responsibility of this influence, the responsibility you have over the people who you get to interact. They can learn something from you, that you can have an influence on their life. Is these people better because they know you? Is these people better because they have your influence? Is the environment where you are better because your influence, your home, your workplace, your neighborhood? So those are things you have to remember. And third, just get better. Start doing that personal journey, identifying those leaks that you may have in your life, identifying those problems that can be fixed. And again, you can bring people to your life to help you with that, to try to identify those, but be careful with that. In other podcast, we're going to talk about feedback, and it's very important to understand how feedback works, because many times leaders with a genuine heart, they're seeking feedback, and that finding corrosion to their souls because the feedback comes from the wrong place. So you start that journey, you start getting better, you identify the leaks, you start changing them, and then you fix those leaks in your personal life. And I'm telling you, what you're gonna find is credibility. You're gonna have authority over some things because the way that you live, the way you have done, or the way that you have take care of things. And again, step by step, find those small steps to waking up a little bit early. Putting the tennis shoes, just go to the gym. I'm not even saying go to work out. I'm saying just go to the gym and try to be there. Even if you don't do anything, maybe you just drink a coffee, maybe you just walk around. The fact that you start the first step, for example, that will be a big deal. And that's just an example. It can be many things. It can be you want to start becoming better learning, reading. Maybe you cannot read a book a month. Maybe you cannot read a book every 6 months. But start maybe reading one page, reading a few sentences, maybe listening books. I don't know. Just start with a small step that you can actually follow and be accountable for it. That is how you get better. And you always have to keep getting better and growing. See, the thing is that if you don't get better, the people around you will suffer. See, we get better. We have to get better. We have to get better in our leadership, in our influence, to be positive influence in service of others. Again, this is not about you. This is not about you or just you being better for the sake to be better. This is about the next person, your children, maybe the person who's watching you at the office, how you deal with situations, maybe the young leader who want to learn from an older pastor. And you need to do all these things, find that credibility, get better so the people around you can be better. Thank you for listening. This has been Chasing Growth again. My name is Pablo, and we will continue doing this podcast. And I hope you subscribe and keep listening, keep getting better, keep growing, keep chasing growth.